Hey guys, it's been a while, but we've got this well-used scuba compressor that needs to have a little bit of TLC, namely getting a Harbor Freight Predator 79cc motor installed on it. Let's see if we can get it working. A bit of a recap where we got to with this project. We tried getting the original Briggs & Stratton engine to fire up, and after some troubleshooting, playing around, had good spark, but the thing would not fire when you put fuel down it, or it would just kind of fart. And what I figured out is the valves. It's a flathead engine, two valves under there, one for the exhaust, one for the intake. For whatever reason, they are not sealing. They are all rusted up. Rather than trying to resurrect this old beast that it's going to be questionable whether we're even going to be able to get parts for it or not, for what the parts would likely cost to fix that, I got the complete brand new Harbor Freight engine. Now, one little problem that we have is that the shaft size is not the same. So I figured, no problem, I'll just go buy a replacement pulley. Guess what? That's not so easy to do. That's the original pulley, the larger shaft size that was on here, and that is larger than what we have here. So let me grab an adapter that I picked up, and we'll see if we can make this pulley fit on this engine. If we can, that's our first step towards getting this thing dialed in and back up and running. This is the adapter kit that I picked up. It's from the Jungle website that everybody loves to hate. It comes with a sleeve and an extra height key that should engage with the key slot in the interior, as well as the exterior key slots. And the new key doesn't quite fit in there. How does this fit on? There we are. There's a shoulder here on the crankshaft. We'll shove this in, line it up with the key, and push it into the end of the crank. Now this needs to go in to that slot, and it might need just a little bit of a kiss with a file to fit down in there. And how do we do in the pulley? Again, ooh, that is just a little on the snug side. So the keyway needs to be just ever so slightly skimmed down with a file. Let me do this off camera. I'll just take a few swipes off of that. Make it kind of the same thickness as this one. And we should be good. That doesn't have a whole lot to go. Now I've got the key so that it slides in to the crankshaft. Not too bad. It's still a little tight to get into this pulley. I think we can touch that up with a file. Just take some burrs out of the pulley. The big problem that we have though is this is way too tall. The notch in the pulley and the notch in the crankshaft do not add up to this much. So I think we're going to have to trim some height off of this as well. Now again, we want to be careful that we don't go too far, because we don't want to end up with a bunch of slop in the system. It's going to cause us issues when we go to drive the compressor head. Now I'm looking in the end of this. The key is sitting in the notch in the pulley, and the bottom of the pulley isn't even clearing this small crankshaft. Never mind clearing the spacer. So definitely we're going to have to take a good 1/16 of an inch off of that. Fortunately, I do have a tool that'll do that. We got a belt sander over there. So let me attack this a little bit. I'll be right back. We've hit another little snag. The sleeve is just slightly too big to fit in to the pulley when it is on the shaft. So either the inside diameter is too large, and that's entirely possible. I don't know if you guys can see how rough that is on the inside, or the outside is a little bit too large. Anyways, I'm going to try and strap this in the lathe, and I'll take some sandpaper and see if I can convince this to behave itself a little better. Well, a little bit of good news here. I skimmed, I don't know, 1/10 or so off the outside diameter of this spacer, and it fits into this pulley much better now, to the point where we can kind of get it on until we hit the key, which is still sitting way too proud. Pop this out of here if we can. Here's the key. I think we still need to take a little bit off the thickness, and definitely we need to take a bunch off the height. Unfortunately, I don't have a milling machine that we can do that with, so I'm going to continue working on it with the belt sander. I'll be right back. Hopefully we'll be making some more progress getting this golden together. This is putting up a little bit more of a fight than I was expecting it was going to. I think we're close. I've belt sanded the key to death. I've taken the lathe to the spacer. Now let's see if we can tap this thing on. Of course, we tap it on, then we won't be able to get it back off if we need to. We are making progress here. So we use a big socket, put that centered on there. It is coming nicely. Shouldn't need to do this because I know that it's full, but let's just check the oil. Yes, we've got oil. On full throttle. Oh, start. Might help if we put the choke on. So what I wanted to look at here is how true this pulley is running. And that looks pretty good. I would like to get it on there a little further. Ideally, I'd like to have this face in kind of where this keyway starts, but I don't know that I want to do that just yet. Next step, now we've kind of got this. This might need a little bit more trimming, I don't know. And we'll set this aside. We'll extract the Briggs, and we'll see where we get to here. This could, in theory, work out really well. See, we've got this hinge assembly here. Give this a little bit of a dousing down here. So the way this works, we've got a hinge assembly here. You can see that the motor hinges on that. And the motor is just bolted down to that hinge assembly. So in theory, we should be able to buzz that off of there without too much difficulty, provided I got the right wrenches and stuff here, which I probably don't. Now, surprisingly, this thing dates back to the 1970s, and so far I'm finding an awful lot of metric hardware on it. Bolts that hold the engine down appear to be 13 mil. Now we got one spinning under here. Probably. Okay, we've got the back two parts of the hinge are extracted. However, we've got this kind of a belt tensioner thing going on up here, and it appears to be, where did those wrenches get to? I believe it is a 10 mil, and none of those are a 10 mil. Hey, there's a 10 mil. Is that the right size? That is the right size. Need another one to go on the bottom though. Woohoo, no more Briggs & Stratton. What we have here is a spring assembly. It goes on this bolt, and that kind of keeps tension down. That sets your belt tension. Loads up this hinge assembly. Now we need to do some cleaning. Let's throw this little assembly back together. Put it in the parts tray. This little hinge assembly is kind of, seems to be on a rubber isolator. Well, there we go. That's kind of sort of where we're going to get to. These bolts are way too long. So I'll see if I can find something that's a little bit more appropriate lengthwise. Still have to move this on a little more, but we are close. It's getting late here. I think I'm going to call it a night for tonight. However, we're not done yet. I'll be back with the next little segment on this probably tomorrow evening. We'll work on it a little more. I got the motor bolted up onto the frame, or onto the hinge assembly here, and I see we got a little bit of a problem. The belts that I ordered, that I assumed were going to work quite nicely, the crankshaft appears to be in a slightly different position on this motor than on the original, and my nice shiny new belts aren't going to work. Memory serves me correctly, they weren't terribly expensive, so having to get one that's a couple of inches longer won't be a big deal. The other problem is this adapter here that I've worked on so diligently in the last part of the video, it's just not going to work. I'm done fighting with it. It's jammed on there, something fierce, and I'm going to have to use a puller to extract that off of there. I did manage to find a proper replacement pulley that will fit on the smaller shaft of the Harbor Freight engine. So I've got one of those on order from McMaster Car, and it should hopefully be here in time to shoot the next video. We do have one little thing left we got to deal with, and that is the down here. You'll notice that the motor is not resting on anything, and there's a bolt that's supposed to come up here that has a spring on it that sets your belt tension. None of that's going to work. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is take a piece of angle iron and cut it off, drill holes that line up with these two holes on the mounting base of the motor, and also lines up with the bolt hole here that we can use as the belt tensioner. Now looking at it, we might want to move that out just a little bit. It's pretty close to this what is supposed to be the alternate oil plug, but it isn't drilled out in this engine. So we can move that anywhere we need to. It's the beauty of modifying something like this. One other problem that we have when we try and tilt the motor up is you can see the fuel tank is bumping into the handle. Now I've got a couple of choices that I can do there. I could modify the handle so that it follows the track of the shroud on the compressor head a little more than it does. That'll give us a little bit more clearance, and we're pretty close to touching on the filter housing turns anyway, so there, we can clear that. Over on this side we've got the throttle and the recoil. However, I can rotate the recoil assembly easy enough so that the cord comes straight up and down. That shouldn't be a problem. Let me grab an appropriate piece of angle iron and we'll start locking up what we got to do here. Something kind of sort of like that there is what I have in mind. That's a piece of angle iron. I think it's left over from one of the truck bed hoists that I used for the logging sleigh or the logging trailer, forget which. But it looks like would do a good job. We'll cut it off basically at the edge of this hole, and that should line us up pretty well with the rest of it. I think lining everything up under there. Of course you can't see anything because it's too dark, but that looks pretty promising to me. I'll take this over to the pedestal bandsaw that I made in up here. There'll be a link to the video where I made the pedestal bandsaw, and we'll cut it off using that. Hopefully you guys can see in there, see what I got going on. Got one bolt holding it in place through an existing hole, and I'm going to get a Sharpie marker, mark that other hole, drill it out. I think we're not quite straight, but we can straighten that up. And then we're going to move the hole in this front rail out just a little bit so that it clears the block better. What do you figure? Can we make a reasonable guess as to where we need the hole from that apostrophe looking thing? I think I can. Let me get this drilled and I'll bring you guys back. As much as I hate to say it, I think that's as far as I can take this little compressor repair. Belt tension assemblies on here. Obviously it still is going to require a little bit of adjustment, and possibly we're going to have to rearrange this handle. But that is a topic for the next video. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch. Can you leave me a thumb up? Appreciate it if you could give me a subscribe, because I'm so close to hitting that magic 1,000 subscribers. and we'll catch you guys in the next mess.